Well, Chef Heather is back in her home kitchen this morning and she's grilling up some pork chops. But watch closely because she's also sharing some secret chef tips that will help you with whatever kind of delicious dish you've got on the menu.
Good morning and welcome to Delicious Living, Still at Home. This morning, and pardon me if I seem a little stiff, I have a neck thing. So I'm kind of a little bit robotic, but we're gonna do this anyhow. Today we're gonna cook up some pork chops. But it's going to be kind of more about a general rule of cooking proteins. So let's get started. First off, I pulled these pork chops out about 30 minutes before we're going to cook them. This way they kind of come to room temperature. It's really good practice to do that simply because you want an even temperature so you'll get an even cook. That's the simplest way to put it. Also, I've salted these pork chops when I pulled them out, so that we could draw out a little bit of moisture, but mostly so we can get salt to get transferred with the salt. So we're gonna season them throughout. And you can see it kind of beating up. You can see the moisture kind of beating up, but that's pulling salt into our pork chops too. So we get a more even flavoring too. Before we get started, I'm gonna pat these dry and then I will season them on both sides. And again, I have 2 trays, both lined with paper towels. The reason for this is so that it's as important to rest up or rest to room temperature as it is to allow them to rest after cooking. So I'm gonna season them up. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt, and the reason we season from up high is so that we get an even coating. If you go like this, it's gonna be in one spot. So you season up high and it distributes better as it falls. Not just because it looks cooler. Alright. It's cool to use a pork chop with a handle. Honestly, the reason I like to keep a bone-in pork chop or a bone-in, some people argue there's more flavor. I agree with those people. And also, especially with pork chops, it's not going to curl up on us. So it's going to kind of prevent against curling. Sounds silly. Not only do I have a problem with my neck this morning, but apparently a problem with speaking. All right, I've got this seasoned up, and remember always both sides, and we're gonna sear that fat cap also. So I want to season that. All right, here we go. Typically, I would use a traditional pan for this. This way, afterwards, I could make a pan sauce, but I think this is easier to kind of see what we're doing. This looks like this. I'm using a medium heat today because these pork chops are pretty thick. So we're going to get a good medium cook on this. Let's see. Depending on the size of your pork chop, you'll notice too, I have a lot of room. We're going to try to avoid creating any kind of steam because we want a really great sear on these. Push them down a little bit to make sure it has an even contact. And we're going to cook these without moving them around and messing with them for about 4 to 5 minutes on both sides. I'm going to use a thermometer, and oh my God, you're using a thermometer. People are scared of pork. And that's another reason they usually get cooked to death. We're going to look for an internal temperature of 145. And once we get close, they're looking close, we'll start checking those. And we'll check close to the bone. Typically, you'll want to check in the center of the beef, but because this bone will kind of protect our protein, it's going to also cook slower towards the bone. So we'll check close to that. And when we check back, hopefully these are golden brown and delicious, and we'll plate them up. Okay, we're back and our pork chops are done. They reached an internal temperature of 145 degrees. That's kind of the magic number with pork, and then it'll rest up to about 150 or so. While those were on the skillet, I had some broccolini and potatoes, real simple, in the oven, just roasting. Super simple meal during the week. And these are just seasoned with some seasoned with salt and pepper. And I put them on some parchment paper. We'll use less oil this way and save on a lot of cleanup. So this is like a perfect meal for during the week. This one looks good. I like the color on that. So that's it. Super simple seared pork chops. Thank y'all so much for watching. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe and cheers, y'all.
Pork chops and mimosas. I like it. All right. You can find out more, some of Chef Heather's recipes on our website. It's saliving.com.